Jake, who was primarily on Houston Outlaws. Let's hear it from our casters. Mitch and Matt, who you guys got?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised you guys took the whole table until you got talking about Lip Sombra. I think that's like one of the most exciting parts of what Atlanta are offering. Still think Houston are going to win because I sit for the
Let's go! Hey, let's go! I got Mitch on my team.
What do you reckon, Matt?
Somebody check Jake's PayPal. The Outlaws deposit still coming through.
You know, they couldn't get him on that severance, you know what I mean? They don't want to pay it out, so they're just let it roll.
Money under the table.
Just bribery. It's so weird.
I love that, like, Jay, like, you know, we've called Jay biased towards the Outlaws for multiple reasons, but this time he gives like a complete dissertation, like, you know, very much lays it out. And the first thing the guy's like, yeah, you're biased, bro. Don't worry about it. It looked like a discourse on Twitter with 120 characters or less, but you've got to, it was pretty compelling, you know. I mean, I felt my heart moved in the Outlaws' direction, Matt. You don't think that's going to be the case here, though?
I actually think the Outlaws can pull it out. You know, after just like, you know, giving Jinx a hard time there. I actually think this Outlaws roster is like so stacked, and maybe, you know, they want to rely a little bit more on this Winston stuff. If there's a team that, like, if they were to lose to a team, it would be like Atlanta, right? Just because Atlanta is so good. But I really believe, you know, they've just been able to kind of dominate everybody else, that they can play this to perfection and win.
The stage is set, everybody. Match of the day, match of the week, and potentially, or match of the season so far is the Houston Outlaws nipping at the heels of the Atlanta Reign in terms of that record, but no one denies that we are looking at the two best teams in the West. And now it's time to see what they've prepared for one another. You best believe that both Houston and Atlanta have put in the time to try and get an inside edge on one another. And it starts here, of course, on Antarctic Peninsula, seeing Lip, of course, go towards that Sombra. Very scary prospect for anybody on the wrong end of that Uzi.
Yeah, it'll be a Hawk on the Diva here as well. So I think these comps may end up looking fairly similar. It'll be Chio playing the Brig. So they'll be playing the Brig with that Ana, just trying to protect Fielder a little bit more against this really aggressive, fearless Winston.
Fearless already posturing towards the middle part of the map. Met by Stalker, hacked by Lip, but Happy's going to get the better in the Sombra matchup to start with there. And he signals that to the rest of his team. It's like, hey, we can go, Fearless. You can play a little bit more aggressively now. Atlanta really just have to concede for the time being.
And I think Happy having like a great game, you know, and just kind of like clicking on all cylinders is enormous for the Outlaws, because you kind of look at this roster and just like an all-star team all throughout. And then you're like, oh, well, you know, we've seen Happy, you know, play really well sometimes, and sometimes like not, you know, kind of like living up to the hype a little bit. But when he's got it going with the rest of the players on this lineup, that's what makes it so scary trying to beat them.
Lip having to find the hack on Fearless here. Instantly the Suzu, and Pelican burns Lip down. The second foray that Lip makes is actually staved off and results in him dying. Houston already here for this Sombra. Atlanta going to have to show just a little bit more than that. And Hawk, again, as you would expect, starts to feel pressure from Happy as he steps up to the point. It's 36% and counting already.
And it's interesting because you're playing this Brig, right, to maybe play a little bit more defensive, but they haven't really been able to even get much value out of it because Fearless hasn't really been able to go in. He's been hacked, but they're picking up kills off the back of it. So Happy getting behind the enemy lines here. Let's see, maybe get a hack on the Chio. As oh, look at this, Lip has found his translocator, so Happy's not going to have that to get out of the way.
Happy may have to play a little bit slower for the time being until he has that one ready to go. Nano boost deployed, Fearless benefiting. Still, the Outlaws pretty comfortable in holding the point. The question is, where do you go from here? The Reign have backed off. They've, you know, they respect what Fearless can do with that Nano, and here's the EMP to follow it up. The Outlaws have the questions and the answers, apparently. The Atlanta Reign, neither of those in their arsenal.
And you see Hawk actually goes over, and Hawk is going to play the Winston. So Lip in the backline takes out Shoot. This could be huge. Maybe you're able to go in. Oh, I was going to say, maybe you're able to go in on this. This Fielder just gets assassinated, hacked, and just collapsed on all at the same time. They lose Hawk as well. So even when Lip is able to get one, it doesn't even matter.
That was incredibly elegant setup there. Happy goes for that hack on Fielder, and instantly there are two co-workers from the Outlaws descending on that one. Ana absolutely popped like a pincushion. Lip forced to get out there, dive from Fearless. He has Primal Rage, of course, on deck. Atlanta Reign need to make use of this EMP. Lip is trying to reciprocate and pressure the Ana down, but there's no one touching the point. That cannot be happening. There's a bloody EMP up your sleeve. And the Atlanta Reign just give that one up.
Oh, I mean, that is not a good start there for Atlanta, especially the Sombra from Happy and just kind of the aggression paying off so well that they actually force Hawk off of the D.Va, right? Just getting hacked constantly and pushed back. It moves away from D.Va. This will be the really telling thing, though, coming in next is looks like Stalker. Did he think well, no, we're gonna have
no one is
more,
even
maybe
looking at the point, my guy.
Close.
That is egregious.
This next round, at least, like, yeah, so I was hoping the comps would stay the same, you know, from when we went to the replay. This, I think, will be the most telling. Can Houston match them in this type of playstyle?
Yeah.
I think this is where Atlanta can really, this is where Atlanta should, you know, open up a little bit of a gap between these teams. If they're not, that would spell a really bad day, I think, for the Atlanta Reign.
No immortality field for the Outlaws here, but no Suzu for Atlanta, which could be scary if Shu lands one of those big old biotic grenades. Happy and Liv both chomping at the bit to disrupt the enemy tank players here, but the Atlanta Reign have to players in position on the point. Pelican, this is pretty customary to see this Echo play on control maps. Hoping to make the most of the verticality here. Fearless gets walled up and Stalker's able to dispatch him there. Endothermic Blaster striking true. And that's the start the Atlanta Reign were looking for. Perhaps starting to answer your question, Matt, at the start of this round.
Yeah, and this is kind of what you expect when these teams move to this type of look, where Hawk can play so many of the different tanks, right? You're probably like looking at Reinhardt and Winston is the two you kind of, I mean, you know, Wrecking Ball is the ones you don't want to see him on. Everything else pretty much all-star like level. Where Fearless, you will love him on the Winston, the Reinhardt, right? And Wrecking Ball, those are the ones you want to see him being able to play, where, you know, playing in this type of setup isn't ideal.
Happy pressuring Fielder will have a chance to use those defensive cooldowns. He doesn't want to part with him. He really holds his nerve there. Happy unable to force it out. Comes back for a second bite at the apple. Has EMP out now up as well. Been outdoing Lip so far on Sombra duty, but it's the Reign that have over half of the required capture percentage here, but that's an EMP onto 3. Still, Fielder was able to stay outside of it, deploys an immortality field that eventually gets brought down with an offensive biotic grenade on towards Hawk. It's Fearless to be the beneficiary of the nano boost, but no opportunity to use it here. Stalker pops him up on a pedestal, trying to pepper him down. Pelican, though, to the rescue.
Yeah, Pelican actually able to find that kill at the end, but from the fights previously, Mitch, where they're Happy is like trying to hack and, you know, make a play for Fielder and Chio, Pelican's kind of like lurking above as well, and it just not a great area for him to just like fly down into that hallway and be able to do something. So once you get them out in the open, that's where you start to see the Sombra and the Echo comboing for some quick kills.
Definitely a organizational score to settle here. Make no mistake. Lip now not too bothered about the annihilation for the time being, but eventually that sound barrier is going to expire. Shu's life force expired first, though. Stalker again opens up the account for the Atlanta Reign in this fight, but they are not in control of the point presently. Lip has to translocate away with EMP in hand, but Hawk's holding it down for the team. 2 kills as a result, of course, of that annihilation. Fearless used his right at the start of the fight, could not find the same value.
Yes, you'll have a duplicate here for the Outlaws for the next fight, but really it's this EMP from Happy that needs to be good. I think if you're the Atlanta Reign, you have to have an idea that Happy has this EMP and maybe be a little bit more aggressive and go with yours first, right? With where you're at in terms of percentage on the point, you get that EMP first in a fight win, you can just secure the round there. Maybe Happy doesn't even have a great opportunity to use it.
Yeah, Lip looking for a decent chance to make it work, though. Happy's more than happy to part with his early, and it's going to yield the kill on Hawk. That's a big elimination to find. Pelican duping a Baptiste here for that extra healing output means that Houston are inoculated against a lot of these disparate sources of damage from the Atlanta Reign that was so split up. It's a big investment for Houston, but they get back onto the point before Atlanta can end the round.
Yeah, I think Pelican just needed to get some health back and just turned into the first thing that he saw. The Baptiste happened to be it. That was a nice EMP from Happy, but it's Shu with a biotic grenade on a Hawk that really allows him to clean it up. They actually got like the immortality field on the both players that were hit by the EMP, so they were pretty safe, but Hawk wasn't in that immortality field and hit with a biotic grenade. They were able to burn him down.
The EMP here from Lip is frightening, especially when you don't have a Baptiste of your own to throw the immortality field on the affected targets. Blizzard thrown out here. This could be a problem for Fearless. He's going to be caught in it. Got himself a nano boost, to be fair, and it's going to be a trade of kills. Fielder's gone down, and this might be the chance for the Outlaws to flip the script. Stalker blown up at the start of the fight. Atlanta still haven't committed that EMP in fairness, but they're running out of opportunities to do so.
Yeah, I mean, you have this Kariko ult here for the Outlaws, and you're also going to have Annihilation for Fearless. Yeah, you haven't, I mean, what? That's almost 3 fights now. We haven't seen this Lip EMP, maybe waiting for the perfect time, but it may not end up working out. Is this going to be the final fight?
He slept, he gets 3 plays with that EMP, but the follow-up just isn't there. Kitsune rush deployed by Violet. The extra healing is good. Fearless creating a lot of space with the Annihilation, but Pelican seems to be left on an island. No one there to help him now. It's about getting rid of Chio. A lot of support, though, for that Lucio here, and Fearless finds himself deep in enemy territory. Now trying to return back to the rest of his team, but Shu's been holding his own with 2, and Happy chimes in as well. The Houston Outlaws split as the 4 wins, Matthew. Still able to find success in this fight. Shu cracking heads together, and the Outlaws start with a win on Antarctic Peninsula.
I think that's probably even a better start than you could have ever imagined for the Outlaws, right? They're able to win with a Winston type of look. They're able to win on the Ramattra with the Sombras in the mix. Hawk has to move away from D.Va to play Winston on the first point. That is like, you know, for a first map of this series, obviously a lot of series left, but this is probably a best case scenario for the Outlaws in terms of how it started.
That is mental. Shu is, I mean, Fearless is having a tea party with Aslan, and Shu is just getting all of the kills in that last fight. I'm not sure how does that want to come about here.
Insane.
I mean, Pelican's a little slow to start in that last round, right? Like the Echo, not able to get value. Sleep immediately on Lip here. And those affected by the EMP aren't taken down. Shu just in the nick of time gets that defensive biotic grenade. Oh, we're eating good, ladies and gentlemen. This is some darn good Overwatch. A good start for Houston 2 to silence the doubters. Hollywood coming up next.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade out. Damage, then you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade out. Damage, then you gon' pay up.
Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Get your weapon, get your blade out. Damage, then you gon' pay up. Yo, crank that volume, turn it way up. Turn it way up. Turn it way up.
Crank that volume, turn it way up. Way up.
Despite being a composition that, according to Scott, for example, that may be falling out of fashion, it was the Atlanta Reign forced onto the Winston composition by the Houston Outlaws. And Fearless looks sublime in the pilot seat there, Matthew. A very, very, very strong start for the Houston Outlaws, winning both rounds on Antarctic Peninsula. A map that I think that I just maybe expected to go the other way just based on its setup.
I mean, it is obviously incredibly early in the season. I feel like I'm about to make like some ESPN first take hot take here.
Okay.
But I think you can make an argument that this Outlaws team is the most skilled team we've had ever in the league. I think just the players at that position, at every position across the board, just so incredibly strong that we'll see kind of how the rest of the series pans out. But I mean, Atlanta Reign has been dumpstering teams, right? And you know, the Outlaws came out in map number 1, very close, but still able to force them off to some of the compositions that Atlanta's been fantastic at. I think this one will be pretty telling as well how it goes.
How do you feel about Lip in that first map? I mean, we sort of cut to a POV of Lip sort of losing out just in the Sombra roaming duels against Happy twice in a row before it even began.
Yeah, I mean, you were just waiting on that EMP. It almost seemed like you were waiting on like the perfect EMP to be able to like get off, right? And because you never like really had that, you got one at the end. It connects like 3 players, but there was like absolutely 0 follow-up. So, you know, maybe you'd like to have that back, but I don't think anyone's gonna second guess Lip in terms of like Sombra play, of like decision making, right? I mean, the guy is just incredible.
Well, it's not up to him at the end of the day. It really depends about where the rest of his team is to set up. He also got slept instantly after it, which didn't help things, but he'll be back, of course, on the Sombra. Happy going to be on the Ash here, because we've been hearing about it a fair bit overnight, and even on the current patch, live patch, you were saying that earlier, fair bit of Ash play going on. Donghack, of course, getting subbed in here on that Winston role, so the Atlanta Reign have a real chance to try and match what the Outlaws are capable of here, as opposed to setting their own tone. Happy hacked him instantly to the rescue. Was Chio.
Yeah, just you know, putting a little bit of pressure there on Happy. So Chio's right there.
Or Violet, rather. Violet.
I know it. Yeah, Violet there, right there to back him up. I mean, Donghack, this is not a great spot to be in, right? Inside of this corner, gets hit with a dynamite. He's gonna have to try and back out to the choke.
He's done well to get away, in fairness, but look at these ult charges ticking up. Stalker's had a pretty big impact early in the round already, very close to that first pulse bomb, and Lip finally finds purchase on Happy. Spent much of the last minute or so going to work on the Ash here, and slowly the Atlanta Reign are able to unravel that Houston Outlaws high ground comp, and making the Ash look like more of a vulnerability than anything else.
Yeah, so you know, Donghack gets into that position there, you know, by where the gate's gonna go open up here to the streets face in just a second. And it looks kind of awkward, but it's really so you can get inside the cafe if like Lip ends up getting a hack, and then Stalker's in there as well. They almost don't even need the Winston pressure to open this up.
Lip now making the switch for a time, perhaps, but still looking to leave an impact. No one really giving him any decent shots. Violet tries to cross the bridge quickly. Lip is trying to capitalize there. Stalker brought down by Happy though, so a lot of that flexibility now off the table for the Atlanta Reign. And look at this, Fearless looking to make a meal of Lip if possible. That nano boost, but again, talk about how selfless he is. He's also pretty judicious about how long to stay in these fights.
Yeah, I mean, just look at where he is playing from. It's, he's gonna get the primal going. Dude, he is just insane. I mean, like,
he's
juggling Lip all the way back.
He doesn't see the humor in it, but my goodness.
No, dude, if I was that good and like could primal juggle people like across the map, I would just be laughing hysterically the entire time. I mean, that is such a crazy play to be able to make.
Be like me picking a fight with Israel Adesanya. That would be his POV. Absolutely brutal.
AVB.
I like my face as it is, yo. I'm gonna keep it out of reach. Goodness. Great start here.
Fielder takes some shots there from Shu, I think. Shu's been putting down some damage here on the Ash, on the Ana.
Dynamite there. Happy can't detonate it, so time for the rain to disperse before it blows up. Yeah, Shu, you can see a lot of pressure. He's actually trying to shoot at Fielder.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, from a distance, it's like, it's just constant damage going down on Fielder, and it's like, well, it's not happy. It's just Shu at range.
Violet very clever. He gets away. Donghack's obviously trying to knock him back into the rest of the Atlanta Rain. Violet eventually succumbs. That's a big ultimate spent for that pick. The Outlaws have a chance to respond here. Bob's in play. Nano Boost also is up for Shu here if they want to facilitate more of this fearless aggression. He looks to peel for the time being. Try and get Donghack away from his back line. Works for the most part. He's happy got a Nano, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they trying to keep him alive, right? I think that's really what it's about is... Excuse me?
Okay. That's normal and based.
Yeah, Lib actually switches away from the Widow, goes over to the Sombra, which is like, it's a little bit harder, like, trying to, like, access the high ground, right? Like, the Widow trying to, like, play for picks, like, outrange the Ashe. You're gonna have to set up some really good dives on the high ground, though, to try and make a play for Happy.
You really feel like Houston is starting to ease in now to this high ground position. Fearless playing quite far forward. Donghack gonna try and go in here. EMP looks like that was just meant for Pelican. It's enough to secure the individual kill, but Happy trades off from the high ground. Lip was not ready for that at all. Happy has been on fire so far, defensively.
And we got a Nano here on the Donghack as they actually want to try and fight this off of the back of that EMP. As Happy gets really low, it's going to be Violet popping the rally.
Yeah, it gets inside the rally just in time. I thought he was dead to rights there. Stalker definitely had him in his sights. The Outlaws again able to hold on. This is big. That EMP now is gone. I mean, you really expect whenever Lip fires that off, there's going to be an instant fight win. That just has not been the case so far in this series, and that's telling more than anything.
Yeah, it's not like a great trade of ultimates for the Atlanta Rain either, right? Nano plus EMP, and you got them to use Rally, right? I mean, not ideal as you see how difficult it's been to break this high ground.
Happy 4-1 right now. Very hard to touch. About a quarter of his damage coming from those dynamites. So even against a pretty mobile opposition, he's getting value. Big sleep on Lip. Shu just bloody handed himself there. I mean, that is filthy. Nothing Lip could really do about that one there either. He's trying again to start off these fights by getting a good hack on the Ana, but he's biting off a lot more than he can chew.
Yeah, they're trying to access this up here, but they just have no way to do it greatly. Like, you wouldn't play an Ashe either. Like, I actually think the right move would potentially been that Widow. There's a kill Shu on the fielder. We've been talking about it, putting down some damage. The right thing, maybe is that Widow. Like, you're not gonna play you're not gonna play Genji here, right? Like, is it like a Hanzo? It just doesn't seem like it's working out with the Sombra. The only time they were able to get a kill and really start to get the payload moving is when they just hacked Pelican on the payload and then just burned him down. But that's not going to dislodge some of these players up from the high ground.
Look at his patience. Okay, no connect there on the sleep dart. A little bit erratic there as Donghack is a little bit hard to track, of course, during Primal. But what does he get from here? The surprise factor is all but expired. 5 seconds away from the next sleep dart, so that's definitely something that Shu's been tracking here. Violet goes down to a pulse bomb, though. Eventually brought to his knees. Shu can't hand up either. Stalker getting it done. Pelican gonna be nanoed himself here, but he's a little bit of a lack of targets for him until he's able to get a big stick on Fielder. But his opposite number is running rampant over the Outlaws here. The Atlanta Rain have bought themselves some more time, but it feels less like a map continuation and more like a stay of execution. They are under the gun right now.
Yeah, the Outlaws, they've invested in this. You see how low Donghack and Shio are. That's actually fearless with the Primal as the Outlaws want to keep this going as they may be able to get a hold.
Unbelievable. Violet hangs in there. The EMP for Lip again after the bell.
I think it was, I think they wanted Donghack to touch, but he got slept on the high ground, which, I mean, that is a pretty difficult sleep to hit, right? It's almost like vertical looking up and connecting on that sleep right as the Winston turns the corner.
That's devastating for Atlanta. They are, I mean, this feels uncharacteristic from this team. Speaks volumes about just how much pressure they're suffering. Shu needs to have a quick shower because that was, I mean, I'm sure the stench is probably a bit much for his teammates to deal with. That was absolutely pusillanimous performance on the Ashe. All right, get your hydration, sir. You deserved it. We bigged this up. Look, we bigged this up. It's a very close game. The Houston Outlaws, though, now resetting our expectations somewhat with that staunch hold on the second part of the map, showing us that they are the super team in the West.
Well, let's see what they do on offense here, right? Let's take a look at a replay. Here's, this has to be the sleep. Yeah, oh, he just jumps up. Because, like that sleep is really difficult to hit. Because, like, typically when you would see it, like, on live, right? Like, the Winston is almost, like, fully around the corner. So, like, the momentum kind of carries him, like, back onto the payload, right? Like, would be kind of falling off. But, Donghak wasn't using leap, wasn't really going forward, kind of like sideways almost there.
Lip doesn't reveal himself before EMP because why would you? But he can't contest the cart from that position. Everything hinges on Donghak being able to touch. The Outlaws maybe knew it. Brutal stuff, Matthew. So, one checkpoint and about 116 meters. That's all the Atlanta Rain come away with. And again, we talk about this Winston mirror. It's going to continue to play out. Happy though, will go back to the Ash, having a fantastic defensive round.
What do you think about the Ash on offense? I don't know if I love it as much as like the one on defense.
Do you notice he's trying to use his dynamite here to force Chio out of position, out of that little back corner? Theoretically, maybe trying to drive a wedge between those playing in the cafe and those playing at the back of the point, right? Hey, I mean, you can't argue with these results. Fearless able to turn Stalker into a pancake, and Lip's going to have to translocate on out of there. Getting spotted here is some free spy checking from Violet. Means he can try and get some information about the Sombra's positioning. Fearless is going to be more than happy to recommit to this. He gets topped up instantly, and that's already one tick now for the Outlaws.
Yeah, and you see, remember when the Atlanta Rain were on offense, right? You're just kind of like waiting around this like EMP and these hacks up on the high ground. Fearless just taking control of the cafe, really himself, puts that Winston bubble down. Fielder can't get any healing out, right? Not able to kind of shoot through that. He has to walk out. Fearless takes him out. So, man, this has been a statement game thus far here from the Outlaws.
Donghak again was at the mercy of Shu. Another big sleep dart to set that up, and Pelican just comes through. More like a stalk than a Pelican, delivers the baby, and it's what sends Donghak packing. 4 minutes 52 on the clock. This is not a drill. This is the Outlaws evicting the Atlanta Rain from that first part of Hollywood.
And they have high ground control. Like, they have full high ground control here. Happy takes out Fielder. Things starting to get ugly.
In midair was Fielder, knocked away there. It was just an easy shot for Happy. Sokka's gonna have to drop off the high ground here. Blinks into the wall. Interesting pulse bomb. What a stunner! He just turns back 180s, drops a pulse bomb at both supports as they were, okay, maybe inadvisably trying to take the lift as they held hands and sang Kumbaya. But still, it's a great way to relieve some pressure on Atlanta.
I mean, that is a huge fight win and a big pulse bomb. Let's see this from...
He knows it's coming.
Oh, just right onto the lift, yeah. That is massive.
And that's obviously, you know, we've seen Hollywood for many years, but that's a moment of vulnerability for sure. For supports if you're trying to climb up, or anyone really. So, Atlanta holding further forward means it's harder.
Do you nano Fearless? Let him just like dominate high ground here?
You can say let him cook, it's okay, bro. It's not overused yet. Yes, you absolutely do. He's aware of the sleep dart cooldown. I think to some degree that misses from Fielder. Uncharacteristic for someone who's incredibly good at connecting those, but the hack forces Fearless back to the high ground. And the question is, with that space created, what can the rest of your team do? Violet going to go for the rally. Fearless living dangerously here from the high ground, but it's going to be Donghak finding Shu inside this primal rage. Brief stun as the pulse bomb connects with Chio here, but Atlanta look to be brawling this fight out favorably.
Yeah, Atlanta will come out on top in this one as Donghak used his primal rage, able to pick up a kill or two, and just displacement with that is you saw Fearless as soon as the hack came in. Seemed like everybody trying to focus him down for the Rain, and now the Rain have something going here, Mitch. I know they got another pulse bomb from Stalker and EMP here. You can use Bob to maybe just like push the car, like maybe try and get Bob up on the high ground and see what they try and do with this for the Outlaws.
And look, no Sombra for Houston means it's harder to put that pressure on Donghak that Fearless is suffering, just like this situation. Lip's able just to be a bystander there, hack Fearless while he's on the lift, and there's not really anything you can do, especially if the Outlaws and you're filtering out of that closed room. You can barely get line of sight on the guy. Might be a weakness that the Ash does bring in, and you ask the question, like, how does it look on attack? Well, you start to see it play out. If Atlanta hold forward like this and deny high ground from Houston, very hard for the Outlaws to leverage Ash's strengths.
Yeah, you don't have like that huge, what should be a fight-winning ultimate like an EMP, right? For the Outlaws, maybe you can build some of these support ultimates and use them to kind of like break this high ground and get those fight
Bob
wins,
as a
right?
player is great. Some teams can only get 5, so it can be very effective in moments like that. But
you've been saving that one.
The AoE, I mean, I don't know. Could have been off the cuff.
Who
You'll
let
never know.
him cook?
You'll never know. All right, Pelican knows able to find Fielder. Big pulse bomb here means that life gets a bit more dangerous for Donkhack. He can only really get packs or health packs across the map. He's able to pick up a Mega here. The Atlanta Reign, though, definitely getting forced back.
This is what could be bad, though, for Atlanta, right? You see Happy setting up on the high ground here. You can't really kind of challenge this because you also need to respect and challenge the payload as Shu actually gets hacked. They get a Nano here on the Violet. This could be Nano Rally.
Okay, Happy under pressure here. Donkhack heads upstairs. Will be accosted by Fearless briefly and forced to back away, but Stalker is holding his own in the meantime. Getting Violet out of the picture is a big deal, especially with Rally in play at the time. Happy hack should be flattened here. Fearless able to trade, but it's a sleep dart now. And we're heading now down into, some pretty dangerous territory.
This one's not over.
Yeah.
Fearless has Primal, and you still have Shu and Pelican alive. You're going to lose Fielder here. You got Donkhack really low. He actually has to pop Primal. So now this fight probably comes to an end, but just with a few more players alive, they force out that Primal Rage.
You stay a little bit longer, though, and you're still not able to force Lip to part with that EMP. So you're running headlong into that ultimate. Something the Outlaws haven't been able to use pretty much at all here on Hollywood. So very good looks for Atlanta. Switching in, of course, to their player mostly tasked with Winston duties, and Donkhack's really held his own. I'd say Lip has definitely made it an asymmetric matchup between the Winstons just because of what Sombra can offer you. And again, does the perfect EMP exist? Probably not, but Lip will take what he can get here.
They get a hack on the Fearless. It's just going to deny him jumping in at just this moment. Is going to wait for that hack to wear off. Fearless gets on, gets a touch, going to go back, try and get some health. Is he Happy just desperately trying to get control of some of that high ground.
Okay, Fearless still got hacked there somehow, but goes into the Primal pretty much straight away. It's Pelican that goes down. Lip knew he could dispatch the Tracer after the EMP came in. Yeah, Bob, I mean, where's the value there? Rally in play right now for Chio. That's expired here, but it's enough time for the Atlanta Reign to take care of Shu, and here comes Stalker, who's had such a good round so far. Fearless starting to run out of juice, and Violet's going to be surrounded by all of his assailants right now. I've got to say, Stalker at 11-5 in this round has been a highlight for me from the Atlanta Reign, and the rest of his team clean it up. It's going to be an even series here as Atlanta show that they can give as good as they get when it comes to the Winston.
Yeah, I think really, Donkhack obviously played well on the Winston, but this one, Stalker just on the Tracer just takes over in the second part of the map. Outlaws had a lot of time there, Mitch, to take the lead, and it looked like for a little bit they were just going to steamroll on through, but that double pulse bomb up the elevator really changed the momentum.
Yeah, Stalker stepping up here in a big way. Even some of these individual pulse bombs came at very crucial moment. The attachment rate very, very solid over the course of the map here. And look, Lip, on the Sombra making a difference, but much of it came from manual hacks. He gets like 1.75 average players hacked per EMP, but he's more than happy to use that just to blow up, the Houston Tracer Pelican instantly. So you can see what the game plan is here. It's changed a little bit. Lip is settling for less than perfect EMPs, and it pays off in a big way. Kudos to the Atlanta Reign. They can hang with the Outlaws, and we knew that from the start. Let's see how Junkertown plays out after the break. ladies and gentlemen, about seeing these two teams in full flight is that on any map, at any moment, any one of these 10 players can take the game over. And this time it was Stalker's turn, leading the Atlanta Reign to a hard-fought victory on Hollywood, evening up the series, Matthew.
Yeah, and it's Stalker's probably the one in the lobby. Like, obviously, like, I think everybody like knows how great he is, specifically on Tracer, but he's like the one in the lobby. I know probably Dunghack as well, probably the most to prove. And those two players come up clutch for the Atlanta Reign to take map number 2. It was not looking good for a period of time there, and then they just hunker down on defense through that streets phase where now we move over to Junkertown, where a lot of just kind of like comps. I mean, you talk about like map specific types of like comps. Like Junkertown was really kind of like the first map where we saw that at a hyper level, right? Where you just see comps here that you may not see anywhere else.
You're talking about pirate ship, and I'm here for it. Yeah, of course. And the unique topography, I guess, of this map really forces some particular compositions. The best part about that is it's often comps we don't sort of see on other maps. This is no different, right? Hawk gets subbed in here for the Atlanta Reign over Donghack, so, you know, okay, it's likely we see non-Winston-based compositions. D.Va, probably the hero that Hawk really rose to prominence on. A lot of those sort of, as we named it back in the day, flex tanks, Hawk was really masterful at. We've seen plenty of teams try to go with the D.Va on maps like this. Sometimes the play can be a little bit slower, and I'm very interested, Matt, to see how it plays up against Houston and their classic Winston Sombra setup.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought maybe we see a little bit of the happy Widowmaker, but the Sombra was so effective against Hawk in map number 1, right? Where they were able to just kind of like constantly hack Hawk, like eventually to the point that he actually switched off of it and went over to the Winston. Oh, here we go.
He knows. So again, I guess it's he's waiting for a call that Lip has shown himself. Okay, it got cancelled. Interesting.
I wonder if Lip, like, after a while has an idea that he's being baby camped.
Yeah, I mean, they don't see Happy at all. Maybe his spidey senses start tingling. Either way, good decision. Violet, yeah, eventually can't hold up in the front line. That pressure from Hawk, too much to deal with, and the damage on Fearless Pelican. Oh yeah, they're headed for the hills.
Yeah, as they have to run, it'll be Shu falling as well. As yeah, I think Lip just kind of has to have like a little bit of a clock in his head. Okay, nobody on my team has been hacked. We're kind of like all brawling here in the front line, fighting back and forth. There's probably, Happy behind enemy lines, like lurking my translocator, right? And then he actually just destroys it and ends up just, playing around the rest of his team. So you ended up having that first fight where Happy just didn't really contribute at all to the Outlaws.
Yeah, baited, kept out of position for a long time. Lip able to have a huge impact. That first EMP for him, right around the corner. Bionade here, offensive, connects with 2. That's going to get Happy to pull the plug.
Yes, don't have anything to cleanse that biotic grenade, so you have to back up just a little bit here. Looks like Lip maybe, throwing this translocator up, getting a big EMP. That's what we're looking for here. Actually, not even going to use it. They're just going to burn down Pelican straight away.
That no need gives himself at least a way to get out. The trade is pretty good, though. The Outlaws are there. It's going to be Shu nanoing Fearless, and that nano carries him into Primal Rage, which he just pops instantly here. Not a great selection of targets. Stalker can mostly just kite back. Chio, though, not nearly as mobile. We can pressure pretty heavily here, and look who we found. It's Fielder, who nanos Chio to keep him up. Self-destruct here from Hawk, but no one's going to be really there to see the fallout. A Stalker makes short work of the rest of the Outlaws.
Yeah, so you have to back up. I mean, being able to keep Chio alive with that nano, and then also being able to use the rally. I mean, that is enormous because they're looking like the Outlaws get a few kills early, and then they're able to get things rolling. This will be a big test. Pelican with a blade. If you don't get any value out of this blade here, I mean, really both DPS for the Outlaws have not contributed a ton.
All right, Pelican dives in, staying pretty close to a notice to Fearless until he sees Lip, forces that translocate away. Yes, a lot of space has been created, but only a player gap of 1 here. So maybe more needs to be done. Lip again's able to pull on out. Stalker a little low, but has the mobility, and the Outlaws are finding it hard to keep Atlanta under their thumb right now. Hawk was hacked for a time, so it's supposed to be a spectator in this fight for a moment, and Pelican finally runs Stalker down.
I was just going to say, it seems like they've had no answer for Stalker, but Pelican gets Stalker in Lip. basically instantly tries to go for Chio in the backline, but not able to stay alive. But this should open it up, though, for the Outlaws to take that first checkpoint.
Yeah. Again, great little two-piece there by Pelican. Ostensibly solo, right? Able to take down the Tracer. Obviously, you know, eventually gets gooned by the brick setup. Fearless goes in. They don't have to use a nano boost there for Houston as they clean up the fight. It's going to be important coming into this next phase of the map where Fearless is really going to value that durability.
You just need to cycle these effectively, though, for the Outlaws, right? I mean, you're probably going to end it like with 4 ultimates, pretty much, for this next fight. Do you EMP and then just kind of like send players up to the high ground, get kills off of that? What you don't want to see them do is like EMP, nano, send Fearless up, right? You know, then end up, you know, having to use a primal, right? Just kind of like burn through a lot of these here.
I
thought he was going to use it, and actually Lip just went around the box. Yeah.
Lip's able to get away. They only catch Hawk, who's completely unbothered by it. Not a great EMP from Houston.
God, that was so weird. Like, did you see like Happy like kind of like jump and move to the side like he was going to EMP? And it looked like he was calling for it, and then because Lip got behind the cover, they like, yeah, it was just so like disjointed.
I think Happy fired some shots coming out of Cloak, right? Before he went for the EMP.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly what happened, right? Like, kind of like even gave Lip a little bit of a warning, like, hey, it's coming.
I mean, if anybody's going to take advantage of that advance notice, it is Lip. And he does. A minute 40 on the clock here. Shu trying to get some heads turned in his direction. That Bio doesn't quite connect, but Lip had nowhere to go there. Nano held from 2 fights ago, now deployed on towards Fearless, but Hawk's to get one of his own, and he gives the same treatment to the Outlaws. Shu absolutely ripped a stretch by him there. Pulse Bomb, Fearless going to charge straight into it. Yes, he's hit by the Bio nade and the sleep, but he withstands all of it. Somebody woke him up, and now this is dangerous. But Violet's gone down elsewhere here. Hawk's been able to find huge impact throughout the course of this fight, and he just pushes the Outlaws back, says, I don't need to extend for this. You guys are already running.
Yeah, they're not really punishing Hawk at all. I mean, he has been able to do whatever he wants on the Diva on this map, unlike map number 1. Now Atlanta Rain, they have that high ground. Stalker with a pulse bomb. Oh, I thought he was going to land it right on top of Violet's head.
He's able to shield bash away. No stick on that pulse. Hawk here just happened to try and keep the hatches battened of the Outlaws. Eventually they surge ahead though. Hawk going to be slept. Turns around again, wants to force Happy back. EMP, what a connection! What a play! 4 players called with that one, and Stalker takes liberties as Pelican does not have the mobility available. Violet here. Pressure on Lip, but the Outlaws are limping away from this fight.
I mean, the combination of like EMPs with biotic grenades, that's going to be an EMP from Happy there as you have Fearless on the inside with Happy. I mean, could you have not gotten like another fight maybe if you're the Outlaws?
Potentially. The stagger was brutal though. Even Lip is like 1v1ing Violet to make it so he can't escape. He wants to hold them in position. Willing to take quite a risk in order to do so. Lip sets his translocator up there towards that high ground. Happy does not have that EMP available. This is disastrous for the Outlaws. It needs to be Pelican with a huge drop here to turn the fight around.
For both teams.
Translocator taken down there. Lip obviously aware of that. It wasn't in any danger at the time, but Fearless is able to ruin him. Nano boost on the Winston. Nothing subtle about it, but it's about effectiveness, not flair. Diving now over towards Chio. He's in no man's land for the time being, though. Wants to interact with Stalker somewhat as he mans that gantry. 4 players on the cart moving on in. Violet eventually deals with Stalker.
Kill.
Nipping at the heels, but he lingered a little too long here, Matt. The Atlanta Rain are going to look to try and make something happen here as Pelican's been taken down by Lip. What a huge kill. Hawk on the card. Primal Rage in the backline there for Fearless. EMP for 3. Violet's cut down instantly midway through the rally. And now Chio stands tall on the cart. Fearless gets slapped senseless. And the Atlanta Rain put a stop to the Outlaws outside of the last phase of the map.
Bro, I think you actually would have been able to come back as like a full team and get that EMP off if you're the Outlaws. Like, you end up using it in that close quarters there. Maybe you thought you were going to get staggered out for like even a little bit longer and you weren't going to be able to get back as a full squad, but they make it back with what seems like ample time, right? I know Happy's the one who actually able to get the touch, so it feels like he may have kind of like burned that ultimate there, which, you know, you have an EMP towards the end, or maybe for that first fight it goes a little bit faster, you get a full team wipe, right? Probably would have been in a much better spot.
I gotta say, someone I'm really keeping an eye on at the moment is Hawk. His play has looked pretty close to flawless. He's going up against, obviously, Happy on that Sombra, who's definitely looking to try and make his day hard. But this is Lip, that first kill right at the start of the fight. This is so big. You're kidding me. No hack, no problem. One clipping Pelican.
Just clips him. I mean, Pelican also probably doesn't even like expect, like typically you would expect the hack, right? And then maybe like Pelican's able to like get out of the way or put some shots, but just the Sombra like erupting out of nowhere and what kills you. I mean, we have it in slow-mo, but that kill happens so fast that you just don't expect it.
Every EMP, Lip is getting more than 3 players caught. 3.5% efficiency on that, so each time he drops it, it's getting a ton of value. Even for such like a fast-moving, mobile composition as the Outlaws, they have to group up, and Lip is finding them at that apex point.
It's Lip now, just kind of stalking, looking around. They know exactly where Happy is. What do you think about the Kariko edition here for the Outlaws? They, interesting enough, don't want to have play the Brigitte again.
Maybe they feel like it gives them more of an answer against Lip, but I fail to see how that is the case. She's pretty vulnerable. Kiriko.
The cleanse potentially, like biotic grenades coming through constantly. Yeah, there's.
You lose out so much free healing against the D.Va. Like every time you see a D.Va as the Brick just whip shot him, get that extra healing. Like it's really quite nice to get those Inspire procs that way. Oh god, that's not good. Fielder dumps one on Pelican there. Stalker will be punished, hanging around the water tower, but the Atlanta Reign show no signs of stopping right now. Fielder has a safe spot, and he's working quickly towards that Nano, as is Shu. So the question is, where does Fearless go? How does he find value here? He needs to strike gold.
Oh, they get a hack on a Hawk, and then they actually use the Nano. That's a nice whip shot, just knocking Fearless off course.
Another one!
Yeah, that's absolutely nothing there with the Nano boost. You're probably trying to get Fearless into the back line, but that Violet with a headshot on the Lip, that's one way to deal with a Sombra.
Look, either a whip shot or it was a short jump from Fearless. Him feeling like he couldn't really fully engage there. Either way, both signs are very good for the Atlanta Reign. Building up these key ultimates now. That Nano got 0 value. Nada. Zilch. None.
They're just baiting them in here.
Ooh, the shield dancing from Chio. Yeah. Love that. Hey, look, obviously a great Nano target if she's going to get pressured, but the way Chio used his shield was cutting off the hack constantly from Happy. I mean, Happy would have had to EMP to get the hack there. Chio did a bunch of things in a few seconds. The shield bashed away with the bomb. Everything was perfect. You can't run away from the EMP, as I said, but still it's big. You create a lot of space, got a lot of time for your team. A bit of an underwhelming EMP follow-up for Atlanta, though. And they're going to be slowed down once more. A minute 43 on the clock.
At what point do you start to get worried here if you're the Atlanta Reign, right? You just use this EMP, a minute and 35 on the clock.
Now,
if you don't get anything with this pulse bomb, I think you're probably in a little bit of like, uh-oh, panic mode, right? You know, you can nano Hawk, but it's like not as strong as like nanoing the Winston and then, you know, or having a primal even after.
Yeah, Lip is 1 minute 40 per EMP, so has time probably to build one more here if things go right. There it is. They find what they needed to. Yeah, Fearless gets plucked away. Not able to be
but
healed.
Why didn't he He could have primal, right?
I think it was just an oversight. He probably thought he would be topped up enough to deal with that. Unclear.
Or maybe gets the effect of the Nano, maybe, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Shu, all right, Shu without a Nano here, so maybe the case, but the Atlanta Reign do get to that first checkpoint here. Fearless, maybe the Nano came too late as well, and we just lost it. I didn't quite see who the recipient of that was.
The Nano actually, they ended up nanoing Pelican after.
Okay. Yeah, so timing wasn't there.
Yeah, it had to have been like, I mean, this is just a murder going on inside there. It had to have been like Hawk maybe putting pressure on the Shu up on the high ground and didn't have like LOS of Fearless to get the Nano onto him, and maybe Fearless wasn't aware of it because he was just like inside his bubble and I think waiting for something, right? Otherwise, he obviously would have popped primal.
Uring on that side is probably correct there. Fearless maybe just getting a bit unfortunate in that moment, but it hurts, Matt. That is going to sting.
Yeah. Because you were in a spot where you might have been able to get a hold on point 1, right? You were just worried about that soccer pulse bomb where the Winston lives on through it. You feel pretty good about holding that.
You had some big ults, so now you're running into another Lip EMP, and Fearless looking charred, black and burns. Going to be a trade at the very least, so Lip is out of the picture, but dealing with Fearless is a big deal. And yet, the Atlanta Reign not really ready to push up. The Kitsune Rush was used, and that's enough really to ward the Atlanta Reign for the time being.
Yeah, you don't want to push in. You know, the Tracer can put down tons of damage, and especially with a Sombra there, you hack Hawk with that Kitsune Rush, you can get him demeched in what feels like a half of a second. As EMP here for Happy, he's gonna pop it, gonna connect with both supports.
Yeah, focus was good there on towards Chio. No firing before EMP pop, just went for it straight away. Just really paves the way for Pelican to stick an easy pulse to Fielder. And that fight's gonna be all said and done. Minute 43 here to work with. Let's cast our eyes back to the top of the screen here as Atlanta Reign have a power play opportunity here despite losing that EMP, seeing the Kitsune Rush come down and not having any follow-up mechanism. Still a big opportunity here to do some damage.
Happy? Lip gets rid of these translocate. No, they like just ran right by each other.
Definitely saw each other there.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Translocator down here. Happy under pressure at the same time. And they have to nano Happy because he lost his translocator. Or perhaps for another reason, but either way, he needed that nano in a big way. He would have just blown up. Shield bash there. Eventually, Happy's able to get away, but has to make it very clear or he's throwing that translocator. It's not punished at the very least. Stalker playing from the periphery here. Fielder has a pretty nice, pretty safe angle and a nano boost to deploy. Everyone trying to play from, I guess, yeah, the edges of the fight here. Nano not an option right now. Fielder hacked. Needs to find a way to deploy it before he gets potentially taken down. And the prescient bubble timing from Fearless prevents him from getting slept there. Here's the Kitsune Rush, Matt.
Yeah, this Kitsune Rush could be huge. It's actually the nano that goes on to Lip here is all they deal with Fearless yet again, but it's going to be an EMP that comes through. Or actually just a hack there from Happy. He's going to have the EMP here in a sec.
He's got to use it. He's got to find a way to get some value out of it, but they've already lost Pelican and Happy followed soon after. Shu, despondent, drops down to the low ground and knows that this one is already chalked. The Atlanta Reign edge ahead in this series. Another very competitive Junkertown. The Reign come out on top.
It's just those small plays. You know, on point one, being able to keep Fearless alive, potentially, you know, with that nano, and then he would have had a primal to just use right after that. And then there towards the end, when Lip actually destroys the translocator there, if Happy, they have to use the nano on a Happy. They don't have it for Fearless to keep that payload contested.
Yeah, real back and forth stuff here. I mean, we kind of throw back here. This is Chio just going absolutely wild. Happy you see getting slept there after deploying the EMP, and it's an easy scoop up for Stalker. Look like for both teams, they definitely had some struggles outside this first checkpoint.
Yeah, and you know, this is one I think probably the Outlaws would love to have back as well. Like this EMP, this is kind of what we're talking about right here. 17 seconds to go, right? Happy gets away, he's still able to, you know, get to the payload as bringing it back towards everybody.
Mechanically, that is incredible, right?
Yeah,
he has to break up the hack coming in as well. Otherwise, he can't sort of, you know, do anything about that. He can't shield bash away. Beautiful stuff there from the Atlanta Reign. Chio with some slick moves as we head into a break. Esperanza is up next, and a chance for the Outlaws to keep it tight and force a map 5. Not a lot being kept in reserve by the Houston Outlaws and the Atlanta Reign as our top of the table tussle is ticking all the boxes so far, Matt. What a Junkertown matchup. We didn't even get to see the whole map. Didn't matter. I was loving it.
No. Crazy series thus far, man. I was laughing about like whatever's going on with the lighting in Lip's room. It's going wild. It's like it's like he trains himself in like like one of those rooms that you would see in like a fighting movie where it's just one light bulb flickering above.
Oh, it's like an Ozark, right? Where Marty gets like tortured. You know what I mean? Like this is how Lip keeps his mental absolutely unbreakable.
It's that room, but just with an Atlanta Reign backdrop.
Yeah, it's just like Seek and Destroy by Metallica being blasted in the background like at full speed, and Lip is just unperturbed. It's also the best way to play Overwatch as well. Just flood yourself with stimulation, so that all of a sudden 10 ultimates in a team fight feels like nothing. I respect it.
Yeah, for sure. We have Donghack coming in here for the Atlanta Reign, so probably going to see some more like Winston-based setups here coming in for Esperanza. But this series has delivered. I could totally see this, looking forward to like mid-season madness, right? Like this could totally be something that ends up being like a finals there, right? Like another rematch of this series. I mean, these two teams seem to be just on another level right now.
Look, if you're hoping to see the Western region put a strong foot forward, internationally throughout the year, like you're very, very happy to see either of these teams flying the flag, or both, as it may be the case here. Really impressive stuff from both sides. We've seen, obviously, Atlanta are making substitutions at the tank position, right? Both Donghack and Hawk bring a very different flavor to this team, but both of them have been fantastic. Donghack obviously playing Winston into, a Winston mirror where he has a Sombra, his opponents have an Ashe, so it requires it's asymmetrical in some senses, but he was doing a fantastic job, really knew when to go aggressive and had a really good awareness of what was going on around him. Esperanza here, map number 4, and it's a must-win for the Outlaws, man.
And to give like an idea, Atlanta Reign came into the series, Mitch, without dropping a map. They dropped the first one, and then just kind of like battle through, win the next two. I mean, you win this one, Atlanta, you move to 5-0, a 15-1 map record.
I think they had
that is just filthy.
Did they not have the longest map winning streak coming into an early season, I want to say?
I mean, do they? I feel like, there's some San Francisco shop teams that just won like an infinite amount of games in a row. It felt like.
Could be spreading misinformation on the internet, but they didn't all have like clean sweep series as well. Either way, I digress.
It's a Custa stat. I agree. That makes sense.
I mean,
I like it.
I believe we learned that from Maven. Well, that's a clean.
Yeah. Yep. My old
have never lost a match.
Just making up stats. Yeah. Now my new one's making up stats.
Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I've got a lot more hair than Clint, though. I'll take that one.
Hey, bro, your hair keeps moving back. The hairline keeps going further back.
It's a distinguished forehead. I definitely don't have to moisturize my forehead yet, so I'm in good shape.
It's creeping.
Again, that's that feeling for the Houston Outlaws, though. Again, they're looking down this map, and it's with grim conviction. They know they must win here to force a map 5. A map 5 that Jake said could fit their style really quite well. But the Atlanta Reign can bring Donghack in and play the Winston mirror quite happily.
I think this is such like an important start for this map for the Outlaws, right? You lose 2 in a row, 2 pretty close maps, very kind of like back and forth. Maybe it's just one play here or there that decides it. Atlanta gets the cart first here and starts like moving it forward. And that is just a little bit of a blow to the confidence here. So the only difference, we're going to see Violet actually go back and play the break.
Okay. There it is. Lip just descends on Shu. I mean, Donghack wasn't far behind. Maybe biting off a bit more than he could chew there, as he did get traded out. Without a Winston, what does that mean for Atlanta? They don't seem too bothered right now. The bot's not really moving either, so they have some time to coalesce somewhat and await the arrival of their main tank. Recall here.
So if you can't keep Shu alive with the break, why not run like the Lucio? Or even kind of like the Kariko, right?
Yeah. Unclear. I feel like Atlanta definitely fancy having the Lucio here. Gives them the ability just to, again, go up tempo when they want to. Maybe collapse on backline a bit more effectively as well. They have a lead here already, so they definitely have the advantage. Even after losing Donghack in their previous fight, the trade favored them.
Yeah, and you're just, I mean, this neutral, you're just allowing everybody to just farm up towards this EMP, right?
Yeah, it's gonna get messy.
Yeah, you got Fielder with a nano boost a little bit before, probably just about the same time here as Shu by the time things kicks off. But man, yeah, not even through the first choke, and it just ultimates all over the place. And that'll be Lip actually using that EMP. And I remember we were talking about in the beginning of the series, him just kind of holding on to it so long. That time used it early and gets a kill on a Pelican.
Now use it straight away. Happy did as well, in fairness, but I think it gave enough time for that nano boost to come online for Fielder. So impossible for the Outlaws to make a pick as a result of that EMP. It in fact comes a little bit later. Again, Shu, ever the smooth criminal, is able to find Stalker pressuring down. And it's a trade of Winston's here. So favoring the Outlaws slightly, and they're trying to make up for lost ground now while they can.
Yeah, they're going to start to get the push spot moving the opposite direction. Not a ton here, earned in terms of barrier progress by the Atlanta Reign.
Oh, Lip hacked, but Pelican had to recall there.
Yeah, not able to kind of collapse on him.
Fielder was watching over him anyway, but still. Like an opportunity goes back in there for the Outlaws, and again, it's the Reign who want to start the fight on their own terms. Sound barrier here for Chio. Fielder definitely suffering the scrutiny of Pelican for the time being, but has evaded him for the most part. Donghack elsewhere, no subtlety about his approach. Runs straight down, gets rid of Violet here, and the Atlanta Reign should be back in the driver's seat. Not much Fearless can really do here to salvage it. And a bit of an inauspicious beginning here to the Outlaws, as this is their campaign to stay in the series.
I feel like most of Houston kind of did their job there, though, Mitch. Like, sound barrier comes through for the Atlanta Reign. They push on up, and it's just like a 1v1 between like Fielder and Pelican for a little bit, and Fielder just able to keep himself alive. Where the Outlaws, like, they actually end up living through a lot of the sound barrier and the pressure, but they just didn't get that kill on the Fielder.
That was so dangerous for him. He translocated basically right back where he was. But no one from the Outlaws expected this translocator to be behind them, so nobody turns around. So Lip translocates all of 1 foot to the right and still gets away with it, gets an EMP, gets a kill, and gets away with that one there as well. Absolutely ridiculous as Happy translocates close to the action as well, and he's in trouble.
Yes, things starting to kind of, go in favor of the Atlanta Reign in a big way, as Stalker will have a pulse bomb coming up next. You're just really trying to, oh wait, what? That must have been maybe like a whip shot and then a right click there from Fearless finishing off Lip. I mean, that is huge. That could be an opening.
And you nano Donghack in response plus trade, you get an honor kill for your troubles here. Pelican is getting the bot back to parity by the looks of things. So even though there's some ultimates exchange, some kills go down in this fight, definitely favoring the Outlaws here. Donghack, just wait for the hack to expire. He can jump back to the rest of his team here and establish the neutral ground again.
But still, you get that pick here just because you're in this like neutral game, right? Where Fielder's been, every time I feel like we've gone to Fielder, he's been up top on this bridge, being able to just live forever. As you don't dislodge him from there, he's able to just heal everybody up. That's going to be the nano boost used on the Violet. And look at this, Donghack can just go back to the rest of the team. I feel like getting that nano out is a pretty big win.
Yeah, you can't use it offensively. It was only Donghack putting pressure there on Violet. Guess that's the fault of the Outlaws for allowing that to happen and being forced to par with that ultimate, but they might have found an opportunity there on Chio, but Fielder to the rescue. Constantly, Fielder's been piddling back in step with Chio, topping him up. Chio would have died with beat, essentially, in that fight, but now he lives, he has a chance to use it. The backline of the Atlanta Reign firing at all cylinders, and now the rest of the team starting to get their hands dirty. Pelican torn limb from limb by Stalker. Donghack inside this primal here can go basically wherever he wants. Chaos zone in the race for the Outlaws, but it's an EMP now from both Happy and Lip. Again, the Atlanta Reign edge them out in effectiveness.
Man, and in the survivability and just having the ultimate of sound barrier, I feel like you've just gotten so much more value out of the sound barrier than you would out of the rally. I think Violet, though, for Houston, like, is a pretty good, like, secondary nano target, right? You can nano Fearless or you can nano Violet, like, if they kind of dive on in. But you have not gotten any bot progress at all, really, for the Outlaws. 18 meters, you're down by, more than 50 at this moment, halfway through the game. They need a big turn of events here.
Yeah, look, having lost that checkpoint, that really hurts when the Outlaws have to fight from such a huge deficit. I don't think the numbers favor the team this far behind at this part of the round. So the odds are against Houston here. We know what they're like. Donghack gets himself a nano, but great sleep there. Good recovery from Shu. He's able just to hop, skip, and jump away for the time being. Back to the high ground goes Donghak, maybe putting himself in a position to peel back as the momentum now starts to shift in the Outlaws' favor. Great awareness though from Donghak. Looks like he's able to transition into a kill on Violent and hang about. The Outlaws here have made a misstep.
Backline. Yeah, I mean, that's the entire backline completely gone there for Houston. Is now they have the rest of the team has to like just hightail it out of there. Is what looked like was going to be just beneficial. Maybe the Outlaws getting the ball in the right direction ends up turning out to be nothing. And look at this Lip just stalking the back line.
Not guaranteeing an insta kill here. Donghak needs to turn up. Shu, Hack, but Violet was there with the rally. So force that support ultimate here. Donghak's able to get away, but for how long is the question?
He's not going to get away for long, yeah.
Still, the Atlanta Reign pushing all the while. Now to 93 and counting. And I'm sorry, Matt, but are the Atlanta Reign better in the Houston in the Winston comp than Houston are?
I mean, look, this is a pretty dominant showing on this map from the Atlanta Reign. I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, I think actually just the way that they're playing this with the Lucio in the mix, I think it's just a little bit better than the kind of version that we're seeing here from the Outlaws. But yeah, I think you're seeing a little bit of having the Lucio in the mix, obviously a huge benefit. And then I also think, Lip has really come alive on the Sombra, really just putting his imprint on the game.
Nice moment there from Happy Pelican, rendezvousing in the vicinity of a very scared fielder after the EMP. So they do secure that kill. But the Reign fire back quickly, as per usual. Primal Rage here for Fearless now expiring. Donghak also popped his. Stalker lingering with that pulse bomb in the back pocket. A lot of key ultimates for both sides here. The sound barrier, the EMP, those are big and hit both backliners for it. Yeah, you're going to come up with the goods.
Yeah, and you have a nano boost here onto Fearless, but still you lose the whole backline, right? I mean, what do you do when you don't have that backline? Maybe, yeah, you have to use the nano maybe to just kind of keep Fearless up and keep yourself in the fight. But once you lose both supports, the other team's still rolling. You're in a tough spot. Is Fearless going to be able to make it out? I mean, yeah, it has to use a bubble to do so, but so weak.
90 seconds left. The issue for Houston, they cannot keep Shu alive. Out of their 20 total deaths, Shu accounts for 6 of them, which is a pretty significant amount. He's being dove very effectively by Atlanta. Constantly being scrutinized. Fielder with only 4. Chio not dying at all, mind you. So maybe the Lucio pick instead of the Brig is kind of one you highlighted earlier. Maybe the better option. Shu under a decent amount of pressure now as Donghak simply wants to hold the line. We see the dive in from Fearless now. Pulse Bomb not connecting. Fearless able to find his Corey before he's traded out here. So no wisdom for the Houston Outlaws. Initiator maybe not necessary though, because the fight is all well and truly underway. Violet's in trouble though. What a biotic grenade connection. And still with the Winston slept, Donghak isn't able to help Stalker find the instant kill. Eventually, Violet collapses though. With 49 seconds left in the round. Yes, the Outlaws are absconding with the bot, but eventually that's going to swing back the other way.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the bot a little bit further away, so maybe you're denying some progress here for the Atlanta Reign. But it feels like the damage is done, Mitch. Yeah, I mean, what, you got 60 meters you got to make up. You're going to have to use some of these big key ultimates, even to just stop the bot just moving further into your own direction.
Got to start with
Atlanta Reign really just kind of showing how dominant they are.
The EMP at least is what the Outlaws needed to make happen, and they get hand Chio his first death. Good start. Going to take a lot more than that. They are a long way behind. Donghak knows that the fight is pretty much over. He recommits here. It'll be right at hairbrained, and he's going into the backline. He's going with the primal. Stalker gets rid of Pelican here, and even Underman, the Atlanta Reign want to commit to this fight. Confidence, yes. Arrogance, who knows? Stalker's able to find 2, so it don't matter. He's able to deliver when it counts. Now looks to wrap around the backside. Shu completely unaware, able to sidestep the pulse at the very least here, but we're in overtime. Happy got the nano here. So desperate are the Outlaws to try and keep their Sombra alive, but he's just going to back away. The bot is under Atlanta range control. Someone has to come up and touch it. It's going to be Pelican here, forced to recall. Happy going to get taken down by Stalker, and it's only Fearless to step up now. Pelican had to blink in that direction. Shu has no help. He's on an island, and Stalker makes a meal of him. Donghak will be traded as he often is in these fights, but Fearless is running out of teammates to keep him standing. Primal Rage is going to expire soon. He's hacked, forced away, boot back. Stalker finds the kill. Great pulse bomb connection on Chio, but it's going to take more than that here. Lip seals the deal with Violet, and now Pelican only blink away. The Atlanta Reign silence the Houston Outlaws. The upstart challenger to their throne is sent packing.
Oh, what a series there. The Outlaws come out, they win map number 1, and after that, the Atlanta Reign clutch up. Some nice substitutions, rotating in Donghak and Hawk, to play the kind of tanks that they're the best at. But really, Lip, Stalker, the backline, I mean, just Atlanta Reign, just a full team effort today.
It's really easy to get excited about teams that can get a ton of value out of players that are on their bench. Even having players on their bench is a great start, right? But, when we see someone like Donghak get subbed in, play the Winston, play, against the composition that we ostensibly think, hey, Houston, definitely that's where they can sort of scrape out or eke out an advantage. Donghak can turn up. He's very aggressive, right? Yeah, there's plenty of deaths, but he's doing his job. More than trading up his own life and giving a lot of room to the rest of the Atlanta Reign to do their thing. Stalker popping off, but, I mean, Donghak really paves the way for him there.
I would be shocked if we don't see this match again down the road. I feel like these two teams, there's more to this that has to be decided. I feel like there's more to this story, as player of the match today will be Stalker, where you have some fantastic players in the server, some that we're seeing, how can they kind of like prove themselves at this type of level. Man, I mean, there's one thing we all knew about Stalker, one of the best, if not the best tracer we got. I mean, up there with the likes of Proper, and he showed it today. I mean, it felt like that pole swap right there like turned the whole series on its head. Yeah,
I mean, we saw the Outlaws that they preferred to play the Ashe composition on that map, and maybe they got punished a bit there for not playing the Sombra. Stalker really able to exploit the fact that, I mean, no Sombra was going to turn up and hack him and make it impossible for him to escape. Fantastic showing here. Again, sub 4 deaths per 10. Again, a lot of back and forth brawls, on these maps. So no individual player is probably going to come out with a very clean stat sheet. It doesn't tell much of the story here, but Stalker arguably a cut above the rest. Back to the drawing board for the Houston Outlaws. There's probably a huge gulf between these two teams and the rest of the league right now, but there's no way, Matt, Houston are going to be satisfied with that.
I don't think it's a loss where the Outlaws, you're like, okay, let's go back and just redo everything we've done. I think you show that you can kind of go toe-to-toe with this team, right? They hand them a map loss. Hollywood extremely close down to the wire, right? Junkertown, you look at a few decisions here or there. Really, Esperanza is the only one that kind of got like a little bit ugly in terms of like results. So I don't think it's a whole go back to the drawing board here for the Outlaws. I think you just got to like own in on some decision making, maybe look at, running that Lucio, putting Violet back on that for some of these maps. And I think you're in a good spot to make this an even closer series.
I love that point. I mean, Shu, huge playmaker, right, for the Houston Outlaws, getting dove time and time again, and there's not enough protection from Violet Brig to keep him standing. What a day of games it's been, everybody. We're far from done, though. We're going to break it down, of course, with our peanut gallery on the desk. There's much to be said about this match, and much... Oh, that's right. We're in the same room now.
Yeah, mate, you can't say that.
Peanut gallery?
You guys
That's all right.
Yeah, you guys have the numbers advantage. Yeah,
we can
take you 3-on-1.
I'll go for the legs, you guys go for the other half. Yeah.
He can handle me on his own just quietly, but that's fine. I mean, look, seriously, I mean, especially for Jake, I mean, we thought that the Winston composition would be kind of like the edge for Houston. Doesn't seem like that was the case at all.
I agree. I think that's exactly why Atlanta were able to make this series so dominant. I mean, I would say it's a dominant series. Yeah. I agree though with what Matt said. I really like this point that I don't think this is back to the drawing board for Houston. I don't think, having the closest series anybody has had so far with Atlanta is back to the drawing board. I just think Atlanta, they're the stronger team, right? Even on the Winston comp. I think that's where, we've seen that Atlanta is like, the real question now is, can anybody take them? I think the answer right now is no. This meta, the answer is no. Like, is this just going to be our Mid-Season Madness champion? We need like someone else to rise, or maybe Houston to sort of play a little bit better. But I think what we got in our interview from Checkmate, the previous match, is very true. I think this match comes down to condition. It comes down to those individual plays. That was a slugfest.
No, I honestly think like if this match goes again like in the near future, I think Houston also has a really good chance of winning. Like Checkmate said, it really comes down to condition, how the players are feeling. And honestly, it was a 3-1, but it did not even feel like a 3-1. Like.
They had me in the first half. In the first half, I was like, ooh, this is not looking good for Atlanta. But honestly, that pulse bomb by Stalker on that elevator, taking out both backliners, that really reset everything. And then all of a sudden, they could exploit that happy Ashe. All of a sudden, they could play their own tempo. And from there, it started to snowball. Also, Lip was not very strong in the front half of this series playing this Sombra. He held EMPs for an incredibly long time. The follow-up wasn't there when he was dropping it. So Atlanta Reign did start slow, but once they had their tempo, Houston Outlaws couldn't keep up.
I mean, and also I think talking about Atlanta Reign, I think it really goes to show like how good this whole team is, right? Like we talk about them being flexible, but it's not only flexible. Like I think the only thing that I was very worried about for this matchup was Donghak's Winston. Like can he hold his own against the best Winston player who is Fearless? And of course, Fearless looked a lot better, but I think he definitely held his own, and it really helped out Atlanta Reign in the end.
Yeah, overall, Atlanta Reign was the stronger team, but I have to agree. I think Donghak is not a weakness for this team. Right. I mean, if anything, he looks like a strength. His Winston looks great. He's proven that they can run these comps. I think the only question for Atlanta is sort of when you have Hawk in, are you fully committed to playing the off tanks? Could you get exploited on certain maps? But I think Atlanta, they have such a good read on the meta, and their individual players are so good that I don't think they're going to be caught flat-footed very easily.
And Jake brought this up when we first saw the first map with Antarctic Peninsula. What happened was they had Hawkin, and then in the first round, he has to switch Winston.
Yeah.
That's bad news. At that point, you've had an issue, and Hawk versus Fearless Winston, it's not going to be close.
Yeah. I mean, also, we're talking about a lot of things, but the support, I guess, battle was crazy, too. And we have a post-match interview with Chio from Atlanta Reign, their god tank player. So I'm going to move.
Chio?
Chio. Oh, no, the tank. No, support. Did I say tank?
Yo, Chio's improving.
Chio, I'm sorry. It just slipped.
Looks like a tank.
Support. Healer. God healer. Alright. 치오 선수 죄송합니다. 제가 말을 하다가 탱커라고 말했는데 죄송합니다. 일단 사과를 드리면서 I mean, this was a big dub for the Atlanta Reign. This was a very fun match to watch. I mean, it was definitely hyped up for a really good reason. You guys were going. It was #1 team in the West going up against #2 in the West. How did you guys plan for this matchup? What was like the game plan going into this match against Houston Outlaws? 자, 오늘 승리를 축하드리면서 정말 굉장히 재밌는 경기였다고 저는 생각을 합니다. 그리고 일단 우리 지금 서부 쪽에서 1, 2위를 다투는 두 팀의 경기였기 때문에 치어 선수 오늘 휴스턴과의 경기 좀 어떻게 준비를 하셨나요?
우선은 저희가 이제 휴스턴이랑 대회가 있다 보니까 상대도 안 했고 연습으로, 그리고 뭔가 휴스턴이 일단 잘한다는 팀인 건 아니까 많이 걱정을 했지만 그냥 저희가 더 잘하니까 그냥 저희 잘하는 대로 하자, 저희가 하던 대로 하자 이렇게 해서 그냥 아무런 준비 없이 했습니다.
아무런 준비가 없었다. Honestly, there weren't a lot of prep work that went into this match. You know, we know that Houston are a good team, but honestly, we are better than Houston. So we just went in how we regularly practice, nothing out of the ordinary, and knowing that we are a better team, you know, we didn't have to have any special plans against Houston Outlaws, and we just went in and we got the win. I do also want to ask you about that last map because in my personal perspective, I guess, your Lucio on Esperanza was a very clutch pick because it was sort of a mirror match. I think Houston had Brig instead of Lucio. How did you guys come up with you on Lucio? Was that sort of planned, or was that like, did you guys figure that out as you guys went on? 자, 두 번째 질문으로는 이제 마지막 맵이었던 에스페란자에서 이제 치오 선수의 루시우가 제가 봤을 때는 굉장히 좀 끝에 가서 승리를 이루는 데 큰 도움이 됐다고 생각을 합니다. 이제 어떻게 보면 다른 어떤 역할들은 다 비슷한 영웅들로 나왔는데 그 루시우 픽은 좀 어떻게 이루어지게 되셨나요? 원래 좀 연습이 돼 있던 건가요? 아니면 경기를 하면서 루시우를 가야겠다라는 좀 생각을 하셨나요?
우선은 그 맵에서 여러 가지 카드를 준비했었는데 그때 상대방이 이제 휴스턴이 스타일이 살짝 아예 안 싸워주고 최대한 천천히 하더라고요, 게임을. 그래서 이거는 그냥 루시우를 들고 억지로 싸워야겠다, 그냥 루시우 들고 억지로 싸우자 해서 루시우 들고 템포를 좀 많이 올렸던 것 같아요.
All right. I mean, going into Esperanza, we actually have had a lot of cards up our sleeves, and definitely Lucio was one of them. But as the match progressed, we sort of found out that Houston didn't really want to pick fights, and they were sort of backing up and playing slow. So we thought that. Our team thought that, you know, it would be better to just have me on Lucio and just go right in and initiate the fight and sort of control the tempo. And I think that's why we landed on Lucio as one of our picks. All right, Chio, that is it for the questions. Thank you so much for your time. And again, big congratulations on the win. 자, 승리 축하드리면서 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Interesting. Giving us a bit of juice there on the Lucio. I like it.
I like it. I think it fits push very well. I think just the ability to reset quickly, especially once Atlanta got a lead, they were playing so scrappy. I don't know, you know, if you guys are watching the objective bar, it was, you know, Pelican and Happy were constantly pulling the bot away from Atlanta, but Atlanta just lets it happen and then brawls it out. trades kills both ways. I mean, it's a knockdown drag out, but in the end, you're in the lead. You don't need to make more progress. You just need to make sure that the team that's behind never gets the chance to like properly regroup, properly take and snowball fights and come back. And so they did that really well. So being able to just be a little more scrappy with Lucio, I think played really well in Esperanza.
Yeah, honestly, I was also really happy with some of the looks that we saw from the Houston Outlaws as well. As much as we can sort of talk about the woes of their loss in this match, they still were very, very competitive. I think they're firmly number 2 in my eyes in this region. And with just a few tweaks, they can take it to Atlanta Reign. As Matt said, we will see these teams again, maybe in the mid-season madness in Korea, and it'll be close no matter what happens.
Before we move on, I want to quickly apologize to Houston Outlaws for saying that you guys are going to lose 3-0. You guys definitely aren't. You guys definitely did it. And I think Houston Outlaws are a great team.
Are people getting mad at you on Twitter again,
Yes.
Danny? Ignore them. Ignore the Houston Outlaws fans.
It's my first time getting the Houston hate, and it's kind of scary.
Guys, we need the Houston fans to stand down. Danny's living his truth out here. We got to support him and love him.
I mean, anyways, we had 3 great matches. So let's take a look at our schedule and our scores of today. Of course, we had first match was Eternal versus Spitfire. Spitfire won 3-0. Valiant versus Mayhem. This was a very close one and was very surprising. But you know, of course, Valiant lost 2-3 against Florida Mayhem. Last one was fought out between the 2 Goliaths, I guess you could say, Outlaws versus Reign. The end result was Atlanta taking the win 3-1 against Houston Outlaws.
Danny, you know, this is my first time back on the desk, but it wouldn't be me on the desk if I wasn't smug about getting it right. Ha-ha! 3-1 Atlanta Reign! Woo! Ha-ha-ha! I'm back. Maybe this is why Zoe is so mean to me.
I can't say anything because I would have been so much worse if I would have been.
You guys have no idea what happened in the green room.
With the first map, Jake was Smug City.
Oh boy.
Before even we got into the green room, it was like screaming in the green room. I mean,
it was a tragedy. It's a tragedy. I got to root for my friends. You know, I want them to win.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, talking about best things that happened in the green room. Let's talk about best of the day. What was your favorite moment? Let's start with myself. This was a great, I guess, best of the day for me. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I want this. It's Seeker from Los Angeles Valiant on Cassidy, getting 3K, just boom, boom, bam. 3 shots to the Rumatra, gets a kill, another one.
That kill.
And then there comes another one. I think this one was like a you don't see the
look at this. Through the
dragon. Yeah.
Don't need to see.
The read.
Don't need to see. He already knew it.
He saw the vectors. He didn't see the player. He saw the vectors. He saw the movement, read it, felt it.
I mean, we talk about this guy being so good, and I think he definitely is one of like the rookie players that we have to watch out. I'm excited to see more from Seeker. All right.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's got to be Stalker's pulse bomb on the elevator. I just wanted to highlight this play because I just love how it's a very high percentage play, right? Even though Stalker actually doesn't stick the bomb, the fact that it's on the elevator, I've been in this situation many times, it's like you don't want to jump. Even if you do just jump off the elevator as Houston, you might just die anyway, right? Because you're just in this terrible position getting caught and flanked. And it's very hard to even recognize that that's where the bomb is based on the timing. So just beautiful timing, beautiful high percentage play from Stalker. And as he said, Scott, this reset the Outlaws, stopped their momentum on a map that it looked like they were going to win and maybe go up 2-0.
Stalker continues to impress me. Like literally every single match that he plays for this Atlanta Reign, some people were questioning the signing of like, does he have the chops to hang with the best? In space, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, Danny, true or not true, I have been singing Stalker's praises since day one. Everyone talks about Lip, and I love Lip. Lip's insanely good, but Stalker is like also on that level, and I just want people to see it and real. I think now they do. I think after this game, there's no more denying it.
Guys.
But I've been saying it since day one.
He's not lying.
Yeah, he's not lying. He ain't lying. You know what?
It's crazy.
As we get to my best of the day, I threw this earlier, and Winston Primal Rage. Yeah, you know, Fearless. I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your
game.
With your game. You know, we know how great you are. I'll never doubt you again. Run the clip. Jake was freaking out when this happened, as we all were in this
Anybody who's not freaking out, I mean, you don't have a heart. You don't love Overwatch if you're not freaking out.
How did we do this?
Look at this. It's like, look where we started. We started on second point defense, and Fearless says, no, you'll be going where I want you to go.
All the way back.
He got so much healing there as well. He hit him like 6 or 7 times in that Primal Rage, just pushing him around. Any other Winston player would have dropped him ages ago or given up. They wouldn't have followed this through to the end. But Fearless is different.
He's just...
Fearless is him.
We're not like him.
No.
We're different. Like, what? He's not like us. I don't know. That was
I mean,
disgusting. I wanted this.
that's why
this so bad, and Scott just instantly snapped it up.
I was there first. I was like, best of the day. I was
This one
screaming
hurt
running
me.
around
This
the
one
room.
hurt me, honestly.
That's why we call him the best monkey for a good reason. Right?
Yeah. good.
Anyways, those were our best of the days. But we've got so much more coming up, starting tonight with APAC region. We got some Eastern matches happening. First match, Dallas Fuel versus Seoul Dynasty, followed up by Seoul Inferno going up against Guangzhou Charge. Inferno Guangzhou Charge is going to be a good one.
Yeah, honestly, this is the first time Infernal's going up against either of the Joes, and that's really going to tell us how strong this team is.
And of course, tomorrow we got Justice against Shock. Ooh, Eternal versus Excelsior, and Valiant versus Atlanta Reign. Finally, we get to see Shock again. I feel like it's been forever
It
ago.
has been too long. I hope they've retooled and come back stronger. I don't know if Justice is going to be like the true test of this team, but I hope they look really good. Like, I think fans of this franchise want to see a lot from them.
This is one of those matches where it's not about Shock winning, it's about how do they look as they win, right?
Statement.
Because, and if they lose, then we have even more questions for the San Francisco Shock.
I got a lot of questions if they lose. I got problems, not questions. We got problems. Shock, you need this stuff.
Well, problems or questions, whatever you guys have, I mean, that's all going to be tomorrow. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Costa, thank you so much for joining on our post show. Are you coming back tomorrow?
I think I'm coming back
You are?
tomorrow as well. You can't get rid of me that
Costa!
easy.
Nice! Or not. I don't
Stronger
know.
together.
Anyways,
Can't we
guys,
just be friends?
thank you guys so much
Exactly.
for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're coming?
I'm coming.
Now you don't.